Sundown in the Paris of the prairies, wheat kings have all the treasures buried, and all you hear are the rusty breezes pushing around the weather vane Jesus.
Hey everybody, welcome to RPM, Rock and Pop Mandolin, your site for learning classic rock and pop songs on this wonderful little 8-stringed instrument. My name is Mike DeJong, and in this video we have yet another special guest, my good friend and fellow Canadian Jonny Barefoot, also known as Jonny Barefoot. Actually, that's the name he goes by when he plays music, and boy, is he a great musician. Jonny sings, as you can see off the beginning of this video. He plays mandolin and a host of other instruments. But in this video, he's going to join us to talk about one of our favorite Canadian bands. We both love the Tragically Hip, so we're going to take a look at one of their most famous acoustic songs called Wheat Kings. And Jonny's going to drop by to show us how to play that song and how to play some of the cool little licks that you hear in that tune as well. By the way, if you're interested in Jonny Barefoot's music, he also writes songs. He's a great songwriter. Check out the links below to his music. There's a YouTube link and another link there for you to check out his original songs. He's really great, Jonny Barefoot, so please take a moment to check out his work. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe if you're new to this channel. Please hit that little red subscriber button on the way out. Also, if you are a returning subscriber, thanks very much for coming back. But don't forget, check out some of the other links we have down below in the description section of this video, including my new video series called Learn Rock and Pop Mandolin with Mike DeJong, aimed at beginning to intermediate players, teaching you everything you need to know to get playing rock and pop mandolin. There's also links down below for Patreon and some of our products that we use here as well. But that's enough business. Let's take a look at this song called Wheat Kings by the Tragically Hip, featuring a lesson with Jonny Barefoot, here on RPM.
Key, it's in G, and as far as the chords go, there aren't any surprising chords. They're pretty basic. So you've got G off the intro, you've got G and C. So
Right?
Yep. It just repeats that. It repeats that about 8 times, I think, all the way through that GC pattern, because then there's a lead line that goes along with it over the intro.
Okay.
And the chorus, the verses are the same. The verses are just G and C again, and then and we can get to the chorus later, but it throws in a D. And then, I mean, you don't have to do it. I've seen chord charts online where it doesn't have the D7, so you can get by without putting in a D7 in the chorus. But to add it in there, it's a nice turnaround, right? It's a nice to just throw in that. That D7 in there. So technically 4 chords, but D and D7.
So leading back to the G. But let's look at the beginning then. So you're just and you're throwing in a little bit of like what I call a pickup note, right? That's right. Maybe explain for our viewers what that little pickup note is there that you're throwing into the G.
What I'm doing there is you've got your G chord, and how I play it, I mean, just the way my hand lies on the fretboard like that, I typically have like first fret, first finger, second fret, second finger, third fret, third finger, fourth fret, fourth finger, just line them up like that. Usually it's just the way my fingers fall on the fretboard. So I have the second fret A string, which I guess would be the second string, right? Mm-hmm. And then third finger, third fret, first string, right, for G. And what I do for that is I sort of hammer on as I'm, that grace note, that pickup note, hammer on my second string like that. And again on the C.
I play the. So that little pickup note, that's almost like a little, almost like a bluegrassy lick, isn't it, kind of thing?
It's kind of, yeah. Yeah, it's sort of a little thing like that you can throw in, and you can listen to the recording and try to emulate that hammer-on pickup notes wherever it is exactly there, or just change it up as you feel comfortable while you're playing it, and just make it your own, you know. Right? Like, just play with it.
Yeah, you're making it a little more funky even there, aren't you?
Yeah. Because then, but when you're by yourself, it sounds, if you're playing by yourself on the mandolin, it sounds a little bit more interesting than just playing straight chords. So it's something that you can do to color it up a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned at the beginning there's a little lead line there, and I know you worked that one out for us. So would you mind showing us that little lead line? And I guess it's mainly notes in the key of G. Would it be?
Yeah, it is. It's notes in the key of G. So if you know your G scale, then it's not going to be any surprise.
Okay.
So yeah, it starts off with the chords. And then before it gets back to the G again there, it does a little. Sorry. So you're on your third fret, second string.
Yep.
And you pull off. You can do it just. You can do it straight like that, straight plucking. So 3, 2, open, and then 5th fret on the 3rd string, right? So you can do it straight plucking, like with your pick, or you can pull off that first note. So you have basically your first and second. Look at me, I'm lying now because I got my 2nd string on the 3rd fret. But I guess when you're doing lead lines for chords, I generally like that. But when you're doing lead lines, you move around, don't you? But yeah, so you have your 2nd finger and your 1st finger ready to go on the 2nd fret. So.
Okay, so. Right. Yeah, I think it sounds better with the pull off, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So for a beginner, if you're explaining a pull off to a beginner player, you're just plucking the first note and then moving to the 2nd note without plucking, right, with your right hand.
Right. In effect, you're plucking the 2nd note with your left hand, with the finger, with your fingertip, like that. And then it does that again and continues along. Oh. Yeah. And then.
Okay.
So it does it again. And then it goes.
Okay. So.
Like that.
Like that?
Like a hammer on. So pull offs and hammer on. So this is a hammer on for beginners. Is you play the note and like we were doing with the chord, right?
Right. So that's open to 5.
Yeah. And then 5, 5, open, hammer on to 2. Yeah. And that's after sort of the first line, you kind of do it twice. So both of those sections there would be like.
Well, that's cute. That's really nice.
That's a nice line, yeah. Yep. And yep. And then you do like a little kind of slide. You go starting on the 3rd fret again, 2nd string. Yep. So you
slide to 5.
Yeah, slide from 3 to 5. You play the note on the 3rd fret, the C on the 3rd fret, the 2nd string, and then slide it up to the D on the 5th fret.
Oops. Yeah, and that takes a bit of practice to just nail that note, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. With that one, I'm sort of just, if you a bit of technique for that is keep your thumb steady to anchor that, and just move the finger.
Okay. Right. So don't move your thumb around your whole
No,
hand.
because then
Sort
it
of-
will be,
Right.
that's too much movement. So just what we got then after that is one thing that I was thinking of to get this next line down is to be kind of lazy with it. Like, what was his Bobby Baker? Is that the name of the lead guitar player for the Hip?
I think so. Yeah.
He plays, like, when he's doing these I guess we'll check it, and if it's wrong, people will yell at me in the comments. But
No.
but when he's doing these acoustic guitar lines, because originally in the recording it's an acoustic guitar, but it's really nice and bluesy. I love what he does when he's playing like acoustic solos,
Yeah.
electric solos too, but his acoustic solos are really cool because they're nice and bluesy and lazy, and that's the key to getting this next bit down, is to just be lazy with it and wait for the notes to come. That you're sort of hanging around in the D there, but you sort of wait for that, kind of wait for that.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
that's really cool. So what are those notes after you slide up?
Yeah, you play an open E.
So open E to the 5 on the A string. Yeah.
And then a G on the 3rd fret. You want to keep your second finger or your 3rd finger, whatever you were playing the D there on the 5th fret of the 2nd string. Keep that there because it's going to keep coming back to that note.
Something like that.
Yeah. And then again, and then the first part. So yeah, that one again, and it comes back to that first line too. So.
Yep. Okay.
And then.
So like that. Okay.
That's the last of it.
All right, that's cool. And again, as you mentioned, those are all licks that are played on the original track on acoustic guitar. So we're sort of doing the mandolin version here, obviously, but they still work really nicely in the key of G, right? You can mess around with them too and make them your own kind of thing, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So if you know your G scale, you can just play around with that and make your own lines, or do that. Shall I play it all the way through?
If you can, yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. So starts like that, right? And then so that's the whole thing.
Nice. We got you. We got all
Awesome.
of that.
Excellent. So then, and then it starts into the first verse with just G and C, like you've been doing it through the intro, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Sundown in the Paris of the prairies, through there, and does that, and then after the first verse, there's a little bit of an instrumental bit, the intro again, just much shorter. Actually, I think, yeah, it's just GC. It comes right into the second verse. And the second verse is the same. Just G and C again. Zippo lighter, he sees the killer's face. Maybe it's someone standing in the killer's place. 20 years for nothing, well, that's nothing new. Besides, no one's interested in something that you didn't do. and you see how I hang on. Again, that's another real lazy part is just wheat. And when I would play it before, I'd jump into kings a little bit too quickly, but just another lazy, just really wait for that part to come up. So, so yeah, and then you can throw in the D7 right near the end there. Kings and pretty things, and then it's back to the intro, right?
Okay. So that was the chord progression. There was you went to D, we, and then to G and C. Yeah. Okay.
And then it's like the same as in the intro or in the verse.
Okay. So D, we, back to, and then one more time. D, and then it's
just
seven.
It's 7. What the morning brings. And then yeah, there aren't really a lot of lead breaks except for that very beginning there, the intro. Because after that they really jump into the verses after the choruses pretty quickly. Then the only different thing is the last chorus, because after that, like pretty much the verse is C and G like that, and then the chorus part is D, and then hang on that, and then throw in the D7 back to the G and the C, right? And then the last chorus, there's a nice sort of turnaround there to keep this tension building before the end of the song. So the last chorus is this. It's sort of a double chorus. It has one chorus is the same. So we kings and pretty things, and this one's the same. Let's just see what tomorrow brings. And this is different. Then it vamps on that C, D, and it gets to there in the chorus, which is interesting because it's like wheat kings and pretty things, stays on C, doesn't go to the G, goes to C, and then this part is sort of a little bit of a shorter sort of that's what tomorrow brings, to sort of bring you to that C, D part. So let's stop. Oh, sorry. Wheat kings and pretty things, see. Oh, that's what tomorrow brings. And C, C, D. C, C, D. So it keeps going like that. And one thing you can do to make that interesting is a fun thing that you can do with D is sort of another pull off thing where you've got D and then you pull off on the 3rd fret and then pull off even further down to open. Right? What I'm doing there.
So that's 3, 2, open on the E string as you're fretting the D chord.
Yeah, while you're playing the D chord. Like that.
Nice. So while this song is only 3 chords, it's got some really cool little pull-offs and hammer-ons, right? That people can learn and practice if they're trying to improve their playing, I think.
Yep, exactly. Yep. And then it vamps on that about 8 times or however long you want to, get some party music for your friends or whatever. You just keep going. And then ends on a G. And then C, C, G.
I love the way it resolves finally, doesn't it? It's like you're waiting for it to resolve. You're waiting, and finally they do.
Well, like the song, like the lyrics. for old
Yeah.
David Milgaard there.
All right. Well, yeah, I think, Johnny, I think we've covered most of it. Did we miss any parts or anything?
I don't think so. No, I mean, there's that lead bit in the intro, and the verses are pretty much the same chords as the intro there, just G and C, and then you've got the chorus, which is D to G and C and G and C, and you can throw in a D7 there. When you're hanging on the D, and before you get back to the G, you can put in that D7. And then there's the coda bit, the C C D part where it just vamps and hangs on there before you get to the G right at the very end. I think that's about it.
Okay. And a great song for beginners or intermediate players to get their fingers moving, right? And develop, even to sort of develop their strumming technique as well, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of it is in the strumming because there's just some really basic chords. Yeah.
Well, maybe that's one thing, because I get questions about strumming technique all the time. So maybe the strumming technique on here is like, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that.
So it's like a couple of downs and then up, down, right?
Yeah. I'm sort of doing a down, up, down, up, down, up, like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that, again, that's something that people can practice if they're trying to work on their right hand technique.
Yep. And the strumming pattern is pretty much the same throughout the song, except again for that very, very end bit, you're doing like a actually it is kind of the same thing, come to think of it. Yeah, I think it is kind of the same as well. So it's pretty much the same strumming pattern through the whole song. I had to think about it there because it is a very, very different part of the song, that end part. So I just assumed that the strumming would be different as well, but it's not. It's not that different. Yeah.
And that was Jonny Barefoot teaching us how to play Wheat Kings by the Tragically Hip on mandolin. A really fun song and one of the best tunes from one of the best Canadian bands ever, the Tragically Hip. Again, check out that song if you want to hear a really good one, Wheat Kings by the Tragically Hip. If you are new to this channel and you enjoyed this video, please hit that little subscriber button on the way out. And if you are a returning subscriber, check out our links down below, including the link to our new lesson series, Learn Rock and Pop Mandolin with Mike DeJong. Oh, and by the way, check out Jonny Barefoot's links down below, too, to his original music. He is a great singer-songwriter. Please have a look at those. Thanks very much for tuning in once again to RPM.